We're live now in 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Now we're live. Yep.
Yep, we're here. So how you doing, Steve?
Pretty good. How are you? How are you, Jack? Hello, everybody. Today I'm joined with Jack Frater Deus es Veritas. We're going to talk about current events, the zeitgeist, what have you. And I've got my aviator glasses on because the future's bright enough without them. I guess I don't need them. I was just going to mess around and tell a little joke, but I look kind of silly. I just seen myself online. But
yeah,
how are you doing today, Jack?
Yeah, I said you look like you were going to a rave when I saw
you.
I'm
going to take some ecstasy and go to a rave.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah. No, I'm doing okay, all things considered. I got laid off work recently, which I'm delighted about because I really didn't like that job. It was a lot of bullshit to deal with. And so, yeah, I'm going to set up my own business, basically. I've decided I'm going to do it and not claim off the state of California because I just don't want to do that, you know?
What do you mean claim off the state of California?
File for unemployment and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. No way. So yeah. But, yeah, it's been interesting of late, though. What have you been up to yourself?
Breathing and farting, man. Same old thing. Fishing, living the life of Riley, as you would call it.
The life of Riley, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we can get into it straight away. I got some new books that I wanted to show here that are really, really good. And I recommend them to whoever watches this. The first one is Mysticism by Evelyn Underhill. It was written at the turn of the 20th century. It's called The Preeminent Study in the Nature and Development of Spiritual Consciousness. So, I mean, I opened a random page and had a look just before this chat, and I actually marked it for what it said. And I'll just read it here quickly, just a sample. It says, in a wonderful passage unique in the literature of mysticism, Angela of Foligno has reported the lucid vision in which she perceived this truth, the twofold revelation of an absolute, at once humble and omnipotent, personal and transcendent, deep, unimaginable synthesis of unspeakable power and deep humility. So, yeah, that was just a random thing I opened up in this book. So it's full of paragraphs such as that. There's actually, Steve, there's an audio book of it on YouTube for anyone who just wants to listen to it. I'll put a link to it in the comments section. This is one of the easier books I've read on mysticism in basically the way the language is written. So if you read like Iamblichus or Plato, if you read Jacob Boehme or Plotinus, all these guys, it's so difficult to read. You got to read like each paragraph 2 or 3 times. Well, for the non-illuminated people, I guess the illuminated people would understand it straight away. My guess is that they would. I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to kick off with, Steve.
Cool. And with mysticism, let's be clear here. With mysticism, you don't mean like dark magic or you.
No, this is exclusively mysticism. This is exclusively about the commemoration of the Alpha and the Omega, pretty much. And it looks at it through the lens of different myths. So it talks about Dionysian theology, talks about Plotinus. It's all the books on mysticism really say the same thing. I just think this book's really good because it's a much easier read. The way the language is written is really beautiful and not too overwhelming. So that's why I definitely recommend it. It's funny as well, Steve, because they've marked this book as a religious book, but mysticism, although it's like religion is like
Don't they call don't a lot of people call Kabbalah mysticism?
yeah, well, Kabbalah would be a system of mysticism. I mean, the actual, what's the Oxford verbatim definition of mysticism?
I could look it up on etymology.com.
Well, here it's a belief that union with or absorption into the deity or the absolute or the spiritual the spiritual apprehension of knowledge inaccessible to the intellect may be attained through contemplation and self-surrender. So
That's the definition of mysticism.
well, there's a secondary definition here that it looks quite ugly. It says vague or ill-defined religious or spiritual belief.
That's the mysticism I was talking about when I was trying to describe that. That's not the mysticism we're talking about.
Yeah, and it goes on, especially as associated with belief in the occult.
Yeah, dark magic and all that, right?
Right. So we've come full circle on your first question.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly what I was
This
referring
book
to.
is about the first definition of mysticism.
Because as we know, everything has multiple meanings, especially nowadays with the information sharing age.
Yeah, I really do see mysticism and metaphysics all under the same umbrella.
Yeah,
whether it's
good or bad.
yeah, it's not really.
It's not really either. It's just there, right?
Yeah, that's the point. It depends how it's used. You know, it's a tool at the end of the day. So yeah, I got other books here that I wanted to show as well because they're. So I've got Jacob Boehmer's Mysterium Magnum, Volume 1 and 2. So
there's some mind-bending shit right there, huh?
This is some mind-bending shit right here. It's you got to look up a lot of words because it was written in the 16th century.
Archaic.
I've learned a lot of words from reading this book. I won't give any examples, but well, no, I haven't actually finished this book. It's very difficult to read, so you read it at a slow rate. And I think this book would be better to read kind of for a couple of 20-minute intervals every day. Like read it twice for 20 minutes every day and have a break in between, because there's so much like wisdom to absorb in the writings in this book. Yeah, we can.
I found that even if you're ready to absorb it, you're not truly ready for the knowledge or the information. It's not going to sink in regardless.
Well, here's another.
You have to be ready for it.
No, it's true. Yeah. I mean,
you could read the Bible and understand every word of it in the sense it's supposed to be understood in, but that doesn't mean you're gonna grasp it all, or even let it sink into your soul.
Yeah, there's a good point about this that Boehmer talks about in saying that knowledge basically comes from the experience. If you haven't had the experience, you can't fully have knowledge. Well, you can't have knowledge about what it is. So it's really the distinction between a priori theory and actually the experience of what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to be witness to the light to proclaim to understand the light and yada yada yada. I agree with that, and it's what every guru or yogi, or you listen to Sadhguru, he says the same thing. Unless you live your life and experience is the ultimate knowledge. Yeah, that's why
I think it was a funny episode. I saw Gordon Ramsay go to Sadhguru. He's done a show where he goes to Sadhguru's ashram in India, and he turns up on a motorbike.
Sadhguru,
he says, "Oh, I didn't expect to meet an enlightened mystic like this." And he said, "Well, there's this what did he say? Something like, oh, well, people don't realize that you still have to be practical once you're enlightened. And Phil's mentioned that kind of stuff before as well. You know, you still get on with your life, etc.
Well, you're still here, so you have to. You're the same person, but not the same soul.
Yeah, you still have to manage the mundane reality around you, maintain it, keep the corruption at bay. I don't mean like
Spirited Woman had just chimed in with a comment. You inspired me to pay more attention to your channel when I saw you talking about using willpower, something I've always struggled with. That is something I've always struggled with is willpower and addictions. And I think every one of us does, don't we?
Yeah, so I'm just going to change chairs because my chair is really squeaky. The squeaky,
cool.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil, hey?
Yeah, right.
So,
Press 666. What's up, buddy? Yeah, and I want to say hi to Code's here, 7 Spalding, Paula. And Paula, you may want to stick around because Jack's going to start talking. He's going to starting an astrology channel. So maybe you guys could maybe do some collaboration or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I did want to start. Well, now I'm unemployed and we're heading towards not a very good economy.
And back up.
Sorry.
Back up. I don't want to do that.
No. Wait. I was just making one point. Basically, I figured I might as well like do something for myself and rely on myself in a business sense rather than, because, you know, when you have a job, if, you know, a job isn't last forever, it can go out the window. And if that's your sole source of income, it causes problems.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
I just.
And I didn't mean to slam the brakes on what you were saying. I just wanted to make sure people don't, you know.
Oh yeah, well that's just the zeitgeist, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to discuss today too with you. Is that
you did want to, or you didn't want to?
I did.
Oh, you did
in a different way than most people do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And why we're experiencing it, and why as a collective it's happening, and under, you know, the guise of the inner voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess ultimately with this current zeitgeist, the solution is like going to be internal for everyone who's like on a spiritual or mystical path, because, you know, that's really the only thing you can do about it. So like do a daily meditation, eat healthy, you know, take care of yourself, and, you know, just do what you got to do to stay in your, like, don't watch the news or anything like that, you know. It's pretty obvious stuff, really, but yeah, it's really a manifestation of the internal tribulation, isn't it?
I find it funny. It's after the trumpets have sounded. You know, we just had the trumpet sounding, and, you know, we're still here, folks. You know, things are always going to be struggle.
Oh, of course, it was Biden's inauguration, wasn't it, this morning?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a struggle.
Mm.
And I think the struggle, everything in our world, everything in our life is put before us so we can overcome it, or so we can learn from it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, the matrix means a womb, a place of gestation, a place of development. And what else do we have to develop here? It's not our bodies, folks. You know, and if you want to say it's our mind or our brain, you could say that too. But what is our brain? Our brain is an organ to receive the soul.
Yeah, that's why I you know, wisdom is always the greatest asset like one can have. So, I mean, like how gold transcends like fiat currency, wisdom would transcend like lifetimes, kind of thing. You know, I don't want to relate it to that anyway. So, but yeah, going back to that question in chat, Steve, about the will and the willpower.
Yep.
You know, it's like, what do you mean by the willpower? There's like really two types. There's like, one is when you embody that which you want to become or seek to become, or there's the other one, which is like, oh, if I really, really desire it, then I can achieve it. It takes a combination of thought and action. And it is primarily thought, but unless you essentially, yeah, act as if what it is you want to achieve. Like, say, for example, you wanted to become really good at, I don't know, archery, for example, and you'd never done it before. You'd like get a teacher, you'd practice more and more, you'd like learn from better people, etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, the will is in embodiment rather than the will as in desire. There's a distinction between the two, and the two have to be really synthesized if you want to achieve whatever goals you might have. I don't know what goals people have.
Yeah, the way I understand desire and will is like in the Bible, desire is desire is the female aspect, or you know, the want, or the yearning for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And will is the masculine, or the take hold, be in charge, part,
Yeah.
right?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So it's yeah, that type of willpower's embodiment, it encapsulates the need to essentially shape the physical world as well as just changing your thoughts, you know?
Yeah, that's where it all starts. Is
Yeah,
the change in the world is going to start in our individual mindsets first.
Yeah.
Because we can only change ourselves. We can't change anybody else, no matter how much we want, no matter how much punishment you put down on them, no matter how much reward. Nobody's going to change unless they want to. And so therefore, the only one that can change you is you.
Well, here's another interesting thing. People with a low tolerance for change, say, you know, if that's the case, then people are much less teachable in that mode, you know, and it's not necessarily about just having a completely open mind. You want to have an open mind, but still have a fail safe in that mechanism that basically beeps when bullshit's going off. Do you know what I mean? So,
Willpower, yes.
well, that could be attributed to will.
Well, I was answering
some way.
somebody in the chat. Spirit woman brought up willpower. But yeah.
Oh, it's a question in the chat.
No, it was just the same person commenting on what we were talking about. And
Yeah. So, I mean, what else do you want to talk about, really?
birds in the trees, and the flowers in the trees, and the moon up above, and a thing called love. Anything.
I mean, yeah, we could have a crack at a paragraph from this book, Burma, and see if we even understand it. That would be something interesting. Yeah, do you remember I sent you that one little snippet of it?
Via text message, or was it an email?
Yeah, it was via a text message. I took some pictures of some pages, like of the word or heart of God.
Let me see. I'll check see if I still have it.
Here, there was something I forgot to say earlier as well, like in the soul's solution to the zeitgeist. Like the thing I omitted is like the most important thing you'd have to have would probably actually be faith. Just like knowing that it's just a show the universe is putting on at this current time, and like despite it, we are like, you know, safe essentially. There's like no danger because, you know, the soul is eternally. So if you can remember that, then, you know, it's a good prophylactic kind of way of thinking in order to like not get sucked in all the fear mongering bullshit that is floating around at the moment, you know. I mean,
Well, it goes back to the old adage, you can be, what is it, in the world, but not of it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, maybe that's the difference between a sheeple and a free thinker. Like, sheeple,
But on the same breath, you can't think of yourself as above anybody else or above.
no, not at all.
Just because no, I know you know that, but I just want to be clear so people don't think I'm some pompous, full of myself
Right.
that thinks that I know all the answers and I know everything, and because I don't know shit.
Well, here's another theory I've got. I've been wondering why it is that people of different intellectual capabilities, it doesn't really matter about someone's intellect. Some people just are able to see through the facade of the show, you know.
I think that's your soul age, or how many times you've been back and how much
Yeah,
you're with it.
you know, and it seems like it's definitely connected to like the sign of Pisces and the sign of like Scorpio as well. Like hidden things that are hiding in plain sight, you spot them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, I'm Gem and I, so. But everything about me points to this time in my opinion, and just like you, everything in your life is pointing to why you're here at this time, and everybody else is going to be the same, because that's what it is. We are personal point source perspectives of the one,
Mm-hmm.
and we all bring back something to the collective Akashic, and that's what it's all about. And to do that, we have to experience life, live life we do it in a pious manner, or in a right manner, and we resonate with the one, you know, which is us
Right.
all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
That's what I think this life is about.
yeah, I think many people have different purposes in a temporal sense. Some people are like very gifted at certain things, you know, that have absolutely nothing to do with like divinity, if you know what I mean. So
Right. If you think about it, being divided is actually divine. I mean, that's the only way we're going to learn, is to have friction. And if it were all peaches and creams, unicorns and rainbows, what would be the frickin' point, right? I'm not saying that everything has to be bad, but you just have to understand that life is here for us to do what, here goes that word again, do what with it we will, right?
well, that's it. Yeah, that's really what you just really said. It's just really polarity, isn't it, that you just talked about there? To simplify that thought to its most kind of fundamental state. Yeah, it's just, in order for a reference point to be gained, whatever that reference point may be, there has to be polarity, there has to be distinction. Otherwise, without the limitations of distinction, everything just is basically infinite or singular, or just it's one thing, you know.
Right.
There's no experience, I guess, is there, without polarity to a degree.
And at risk of being new age-ish.
Well, do you know what? That might not be true, actually. That might not be true. I don't know, because I can get into a story here of what happened last week to me. It was really weird. It was like an encounter with a demon in a dream, or like an astral project. I'd say it was an astral projection, because I remember being in bed asleep, right? And there's a door behind me there, which is stairs that go up to the house where my landlady lives. And but the door is always locked. So in the dream, I was in my bed. I was asleep in my bed in the dream, in my room, and I heard some people coming down the stairs. I was in bed and like opening the door, and I was like, huh? And I thought they were going to, like, 3 people were going to walk into my room. And then like this basically black cloaked figure just came round and like was standing over me in my bed and staring at me. And it was really cold, and I was like paralyzed with this fear, right? Totally paralyzed. But what gets really weird is like I was standing at it, and I've had these experiences before, encountering demonic entities in dreams. And often I've like shouted like a divine word in Hebrew in the past, just in my dream. Like I've shouted like Yehovah Elohim, basically, in my dream, and then it goes away, or you wake up. But this is what's really weird, is like I was looking at it as it's standing over me, and the thing's really evil, right? Really, really evil. It's weird to explain. But then like I woke up, and the act of me waking up from the dream, the transition from the dream to being awake, was just that I was looking at my room, and then it kind of disappeared, and then I was awake, and actually awake in life. So the dream happened in my room as exactly how my room is. And then when I woke up, it just disappeared. And this was before, this was like sometime like around 4 o'clock at night or something like that. I woke up, and it was just, I got up after that and had a cigarette and walked about, because it was. And the other thing is that the temperature of the room was freezing cold when I woke up. It was so cold in my room. It seemed colder inside than outside. And
You don't have air conditioning?
no. I mean, you could have actually run your air conditioning in California in the last couple of days, but yeah, no, it was weird, dude. It was really weird. I mean, when you go from the dream world to the waking world, and it's exactly the same, it's usually some sort of like astral travel or something. It's like the terminal between waking life and maybe not REM sleep, but. And it's interesting that this entity was right there in between the two states, is where it manifested. So like, would that, see, this is why I brought this up, is because we were just talking about polarity for experience, right? Mm-hmm. So say in some kind of semi-spiritual realm, like I experienced from, and I wouldn't call it a dream, I'd call it like, I don't know, like an apparition. I don't know what the correct like scientific name would be for that. But like, even in that realm, just outside of the physical realm, there was still the polarity there as well, because, you know, there was fear. So that meant there's probably bliss as well on the other spectrum, on the other side of the coin there. So yeah, I still think there's still like some kind of less dense kind of spiritual world where there's still like polarity and rhythm, and other hermetic laws are in operation there, even though it's at a different bandwidth kind of.
Well, isn't that what the Egyptians called the duat?
Yeah. It was definitely a go-between place.
Yeah, or the bardo, right?
Yeah, the bardo or the duat. Yeah, it was really scary though. It was
the Christian faith would call it the abyss.
Yeah. But this is the thing, like, even if you have a negative experience, it was still me experiencing myself as a spirit, you know. And I know I was, because I was asleep, but there was another entity there. And I like thought about this. I was like, okay,
tablets. I gotta find it. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah. That's what I thought when I woke up. Actually, the first thought that came to my mind was, shit, the emerald tablets, the invaders coming from the deep. That was the first fucking thing I thought about, literally. And then, oh damn, what was the? I started wondering. Now this is what I started wondering. I started wondering if the entity was me, like as a logical explanation, going, well, that's some aspect of your unconscious mind showing this form. And I thought about that, and I was like, it didn't seem like it was me. It seemed like it was a separate entity. So definitely separate from my ego, you know, but yeah, that was some spooky shit. And I wonder, yeah.
Yeah, it says very.
I did, yeah.
Go ahead.
So what have you found that? Are you looking for that?
I thought I did.
I'll tell you what, let me look up the verse and chapter.
I think I found it right here.
Tablet 5.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm on tablet 8. Tablet 5?
I think so.
The Dweller of Unal?
I don't think it is this one, actually.
No, it's 8, I think.
You should know.
Yeah, it's the Key of Mysteries, and it talks right here about wisdom is hidden in darkness when lit by the flame of the soul. Find thou the wisdom and be light born, a son of the light without form. Seek the evermore wisdom, find in the heart of the flame. Know that only by striving can light pour into thy brain. Now have I spoken the wisdom, list to the voice and obey. Tear open the veils of the darkness, shine a light on the way. Speak I of ancient Atlantis, speak of the days of the kingdom of shadows, speak of the coming of the children of shadows. Out of the great deep were they called by the wisdom of earthmen, called for the purpose of gaining great power. Far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men there were who delved in darkness, using dark magic, calling up beings from the great deep below us. Forth came they into this cycle, formless were they of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earthmen. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world.
Yeah, that I gotta be honest. It sounds like he's talking about like ancient magic, where it would have been like conjuring demons to perform certain operations, and it probably is this very same magic that is through the Goetia and the Key of Solomon. And
but the ultimate image here of my understanding is that he's talking about our ego, and it's not a he, it's our consciousness, period.
I mean,
thought is our consciousness.
You know, I thought about this. Like, I don't know.
Only through blood could our ego manifest. Only through man could it live.
I think. Yeah. I'm looking at the script not quite from that anagogical level of exegesis. I'm looking through it from a more like moral of the story kind of thing, where it just sounds like, you know, people conjuring demons, like using blood and giving them offerings of blood, etc. That's just what it sounds like to me, you know.
Yeah, that's like the Bible. When you start reading the Bible, you think of it as, if you look at it through carnal eyes and carnal mind, you see it as a physical representation of history. And if you look at it through the true genius of how it's written, it is written in a form where it can be both to everybody, but it's truly a thing in truth.
Well, this is what's so interesting is that what I find really bizarre is it seems like magic has always been the same throughout all different cultures, throughout all the ages on Earth. It's always like you've had a system where there's 72 demons.
And what is magic in its essence?
Well, magic in its essence is that what magic really is the conjuration and then binding or requesting of a spirit to do something you can't do. That's what it is.
Simplify it even more to intent, right? Magic is intent.
Yeah.
Wordage, verbiage, or you know, pretty much intent. You intent. You focus your intent, and that's the best magic you could conjure, right? Well, and magic or knowledge to man is our wisdom to man is only magical when it's unknown, right? You know, because otherwise knowledge is knowledge. But it only seems to be magic because it's unknown.
Right, I see what you mean. Yeah, well, I mean, the way that definition
That's
I gave of magic is
Which-
essentially what it is. But it changed because you had the spirit model of magic, which is the one I defined, and then you have the psychological model of magic as well. When really it's both at the same time, you know. So
333.
was it 333?
It was just 333, yes.
Yeah. So what else did you want to touch on?
Not much, man. Just, you know, just pretty much what we're discussing. I mean, I don't ever come into these things with a set agenda on what I'm going to talk about, you know.
Yeah.
Frame it in whatever you want to talk about, man.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So like there's a book I got here I've been reading. I've got a lot of books around me at the moment, but this is the Hygromantia, which is the Key of Solomon. Well, this is why it's interesting, because this is essentially the Key of Solomon, but in Greek, when it was written in Hebrew and Latin as well, and but it's the same thing, although the names of the angels and the demons are in a Greek name rather than a Hebrew name.
What do you think Solomon is?
Solomon.
Yeah, what do you think Solomon is at its essence? I think it's soul of man, right?
Solomon. Maybe.
You never thought of that before?
No, I've never thought of that. I never have.
Because I think English is English, dude.
English. What do you mean it's English?
Somebody brought that up to me recently and said that word to me, and it kind of made sense. English, you know, English is English. You know, it's pretty much telling you point blank what everything is. It's like infinite, infinite. You know, the word infinite is precisely where it's at, infinite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Infinite. Well, here's the point, and this is why I mentioned earlier magic and mysticism are kind of all under the same umbrella anyway in terms of metaphysics. But I've got a list of all the planetary hours out here, and there's one that says for asking aid for your salvation, you know. So that's the 14th hour of the 15th hour of Tuesday. So that's the day of Mars during the second hour of Mars, and to help your salvation. And then the last hour of Mars is pray to God. So even though we had the Inquisition where the church kind of destroyed all this stuff, really, you know, the church throughout the age of Pisces was kind of like, for a long time, the main governmental body. So it had huge influence. So despite the Inquisition and the destruction of a lot of this material that was left over the last, God knows how long ago it's been here for, basically the Catholic Church just ran a monopoly on spirituality, you know, and that was enacted. That was enacted.
Anybody that thought anything different than them were either strung up, crucified, or.
Yeah, it's a shame because we've lost a lot of. I'm sure we lost a lot of knowledge through that, and scholars have had to kind of piece together and reconstruct it. And
but don't in that right there, that whole phenomenon, don't you think that no matter what the knowledge, no matter what is trying to be suppressed, or no matter what, truth will always find the way for those who seek it, right?
Yeah, Yeah, of course.
You will always find the truth, whether it come to you accidentally, like it did to me at the beginning, or whether you're in tune with it, and you're at that resonant frequency where it just keeps coming, or you're in correction. Because I noticed when I correct certain things in my my mind and my persona in my life, my karmic situations, that more knowledge comes my way.
And
Have you
maybe that's
experienced
why
that?
they call it correctional services, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right. There you
Like, you know,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people talking about prison does a lot of people with bad attitudes that aren't psychopaths. They get humbled really, really quickly in prison, you know, and they're
Right.
like, their ego gets totally like taken down like 100 pegs. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, I've been in jail and it wasn't nothing nice. I didn't enjoy it.
How long
It's
were you in for?
I was only in there for 3 months, 3.5 months.
Uh,
Yeah, it
must
was for
suck.
a bunch of I got a disorderly conduct, and then I failed the drug test, and I ended up failing my probation and having to go back.
That sucks.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well,
plenty
that's
in my life, just like everybody else has in their life to correct. And I think
mm-hmm.
that's, this vessel of vanity demands a lot from our psychological setup that we're blessed with, or hindered with, whatever way you want to look at it. And if we continue to go down the road that's inappropriate, more inappropriateness is going to happen. And I think that happens on a collective as well as on a singular level.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you do good, doesn't mean you're going to have all great happen to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, it is interesting.
Even
Yeah,
sometimes say that even the ones that are doing the most suffer the worst.
yeah,
For
yeah.
the one
That
that struggles and the one that struggles and toils the utmost is the one closest to liberation.
yeah, that's oh, that is God, what it was on the tip of my tongue. It's just gone. Oh, Lazarus. That was it. You know,
Yep. I
story of
don't know.
Lazarus. He has no fun after he attains illumination, but he
Look
still
at this, dude. Dude, I just fingered through this book and it pops up, man. Exactly what I was just saying. Man is a star born to a body until in the end he is freed through his strife. Only by struggle and toiling thy utmost shall the star within thee bloom out in new life. He who knows the commencement of all things, free is his star from the realms of the night.
yeah. That was uh that was a nice little coincidence there, Steve. Managed to open the right page.
Pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And people want to know what the negativeness on earth is, and the struggle on earth is about. Man supports himself only on that which resists. So earth must resist man, else he existeth not. And all eyes do not see with the same vision, for to one an object appears of one form or color, and to a different eye of another. So also the infinite fire changing from color to color is never the same from day to day, meaning that my truth is not going to be the same truth for you, because it's not going to be the same experience, but all truths lead to the ultimate one. And that one truth is all there could be. Otherwise, else all would be false. That's how I see it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's sounds like a pretty accurate statement. Yeah. It's interesting that like yeah, Earth has to resist man, you know. It's again it's with the struggles of life, it's I still think if you understand polarity and you kind of you don't just understand it through like intellectualizing things, but you understand it through a spiritual practice of meditation or whatever spiritual practice people can do. There's lots of good ones out there. Um, then you like start to understand polarity much better because you don't, I don't know, like you don't care about the left or the right paradigm. You see like what the singular problem is through the left and the right paradigm, or that's political, but you know, you'd watch like, say, either CNN or Fox, and you see that they're both doing exactly the same thing. They're just coming from an opposing perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Although in recent times, I have definitely sympathized much more with the right than the left.
I won't even go there, dude.
I know. It's just it's
silliness
just,
to me, because
exactly. See, this is the thing.
Everybody just, without friction, there would be no life. I understand this, but I mean, it's like, why do we have two political parties in the first place? Why? So we can fight over things. Why? So we can choose a side. Why? It's like,
here I found a quote about
we have
it
inside of us to not want to believe in God, because God is unprovable, right? I mean, the biggest nothing is where the biggest something comes from, people. Can I come in from the out now?
Yeah.
That's how I like to look at it is, can I come in, please? I'm sick of being out here.
Well, this is really, some kind of.
Somebody just said in chat, Earth eats everything that is on the surface. Or yes, it does. It's just like the black hole, just like we are, and we can say, I honestly know everything is an iteration of that center of all things, because we are the singular proportion of the singular. We are the fractal of the fractal of the fractal. And the further far down the tree we've fallen, the more work you got to do, right? And that seems like everything in our paradigm is like, we dig a hole we have to dig ourselves out of. But it's not that hard. You just have to correct it, in your own mind, and be it. I mean, every sin is forgivable except for a couple, I'm sure of it. Even that may be forgivable. I don't know.
Yeah, I found some. Where was it? Oh man, I found some quote. I read some quote about that day. Some guy called what was his name? I'm just looking for it. Yeah, Montague Norman, the governor of the Bank of England in 1924, said to a bunch of Americans, he said, we keep the two-party political system to have the public focused on problems that mean absolutely nothing.
Thank you.
And then he goes on to say, well, the real issue that they don't see, the real issue that's going on, they'll be unable to see, basically.
Yes. Because
that is that
left hand when it's really in the right hand.
well, that's the issue of like a twofold elite. So you got elitist people that want to parasite and live off other people's labor, and you've got other ones that want to benefit the world, like, and make some.
Hey, have you
trying to ameliorate society? In some.
Have you come across Michael Tellinger lately?
Michael who?
Tellinger.
No.
Today, he's got this thing, one small town, this thing going on, and it sounds so spot on. And I'm so proud of this guy, because he's come from the rabbit hole circus that we all are coming from. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he's turned it into action, where he calls it Mobutu or whatever. He moved to Africa. I think he lives in Africa, but he started this thing where, I don't know, you look him up and read and look at the video, dude. I'll share the link in the video, so at the bottom in the description, so everybody can check it out. But check out Michael Tellinger in his most recent video. It's pretty sweet. Show Me Sasquatch shared it with me earlier.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Here it says, here's the quote. It says, the governor of the Bank of England, 1924, Montague Norman. oh man, he says, by dividing the voter through the political party system, we can get them to expend their energies in fighting for questions of no importance. Yeah, like questions like how many genders are there, or questions like fucking, I don't know, all this bullshit.
Right.
If thus by discrete. But yeah, no, it definitely seems that the there's a lot of like influential people in this world are outside of the realm, or they like manipulate things based on polarity, essentially, and polarize everyone, so they're too busy squabbling about nonsensical temporal things that really don't matter.
Right. Well, that's pretty much everything in this world, does it?
Yeah, no, it is pretty much everything in this world. Kind of, it's true, but that again, that kind of comes full circle as to the importance of like a healthy,
surviving.
well, the importance of a healthy spiritual practice,
right.
That can keep you from like falling into that like ocean current of just people being swept around by polarity like bags in the wind, a lot of people. So
yeah. And remember, oh man, that all which exists is only another form of that which exists not. Everything that has being is passing into yet other being, and thou thyself are not an exception. Consider the law, for all is law. Seek not that which is not of the law, for such exists only in the illusions of the senses. Wisdom cometh to all her children, even as they cometh unto wisdom. All through the ages the light has been hidden. Awake, O man, and be wise.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, once I start reading this stuff, I just don't want to stop, dude. Oh, and then it goes down to I wanted to read this part because, this tablet I'm reading from is I think it's the key of wisdom, and it's talking about the seven lords and the lords of Amenti, and three, which is the third rock from the sun, the third dimension. That's where we're at. 3 holds the key of all hidden magic. Creator he of the halls of the dead. This is talking about the archetype. Sending forth power, shrouding with darkness, binding the souls of the children of men. Sending the darkness, binding the soul force, director of negative to the children of men.
Just to stop there, when he talks about that 3 being the key and binding the negative, like that instantly reminds me of it's in a way that's Kabbalistic, like it's describing the Sephiroth of Binah there, because it just talks about the binding, and Saturn rules. Saturn corresponds to Binah, where it's that binding force that traps our soul, like the beginning of the process of the physical manifestation of the soul. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, anyway, yeah, that I just immediately started popping off in my head, that thought, as you were reading that.
Yeah, that verse right there was one of the main things that made sense right away.
And it's interesting because you got you can see that 3 as the 3 infinite states of God, as in God thrice great, but you can also see that 3 in the Kabbalistic sense, and really the 3 in the Kabbalistic sense is kind of describing the 3 states of God anyway, about how it's the triune, and how it's the beginning of that.
It's like the Fibonacci sequence.
No, I mean like how it's the beginning of the manifestation of things,
Need to seed, right?
Yeah.
Because from 1 and 1 comes 2, from the 2 comes 3. So
oh yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
first three
Sorry.
numbers of Fibonacci, right?
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, I kind of like don't know how to explain this. I'm looking for the word, but it's
Sometimes that's hard to do.
yeah. There's no word that relates the third Sephiroth of Binar to the
No,
three
it's
stages
knowledge,
of the
wisdom, and
child.
understanding. So
Right.
knowledge would
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So it's like
And
really
that's
the only
Shakma,
thing.
Bina, and Keter, correct?
Huh?
And that's Shakma or Chokma or whatever you want to call it. Bina,
Hokmah.
Hokma. Is that how it's
Yeah.
pronounced?
Yeah. Hokmah or
Hokma.
Hok,
Hokma. It's spelled as
Hokmah.
PH though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the C is silent on
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I hear a lot.
I'm not really versed in all that. I just call it what I see it as.
Yeah, well, Hokmah's really like a burst of energy. So Hokmah really is the Big Bang, you could say.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
and then Binar is when, the Big Bangs was kind of like a few hours ago and things have started to settle down and now they're going to start forming physical objects and stuff.
it's
So
not Shakma, Bina, and Keter all interrelated to knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I mean, aren't they just supplementing the other? The word for word. It's a potato type thing.
yeah, I guess I think.
They're both the top of the tree of life, right?
Well,
Or
yeah, knowledge isn't God, knowledge isn't Keter, knowledge is the
no,
hidden one.
Pluto is Keter.
No, knowledge is corresponds to Da'at, which is the hidden world in between. They never usually depict it on the tree of life.
No, it's in the center of the second tier, I think.
Is it?
Right?
Yeah, it's in this. It's above Tifereth and below Hokmah in the middle pillar, and the god name is Jehovah Elohim Vadar, which means God of all knowledge, basically. So yeah, I guess Keter itself is like absolute, like the absolute, which, well, there's three veils to Kether though, anyway, isn't there? There's
All three of
Ayin,
them. Right?
there's Ayin Sof, and Ayin Sof
Or,
So, or Ayin Sof or. So yeah, yeah, it's all very fascinating how all these systems of mysticism connect. They're all really just different expressions of the same thing, you know.
yeah, you get into the Tao, and then you get into the what is it, the Upanishads, and all of it. They all You'll always see crossover references, and wow, that sounds like you like the Emerald Tablets. Though I walked through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, that's pretty much in the Emerald Tablets. You got that same verse in I think where else did I read that? I think it was in the where else did I read that? I can't remember.
You know what I don't understand as well? I don't. I seems to me a lot of pagans seem to have difficulty in seeing monotheism and polytheism as really the same thing. I don't know why. I don't know why they have, or on the other way around, monotheists have a lot of trouble with polytheism because they go, "Oh, there's only one God," blah blah blah. But they're both true and they're both valid anyway.
Yeah.
I'd say you could argue that polytheism could be more valid because the one God is one of many below. I don't know.
Well, I think that whole hierarchy thing comes in when man convolutes everything, because we just need to live our lives by the KISS, right?
Yeah, the
KISS
intellect wants to put.
keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, I think though, you see, with polytheism, a good.
Polytheism is the archetypes too, though, right? Isn't that what
Well,
the
yeah, this is the thing. A polytheistic or a pagan pantheon. It does give you a better map of the archetypal universe, because that's your reference point for how you're going to navigate the mental realm of the universe. You
Well,
need to,
essentially, the Bible kind of says that too, with the stars and the signs and all that stuff, right?
Hmm,
I mean, you could look at that as an archetypal layout too, right? Or
right.
that doesn't reference it straight out like a lot of the mysticism or the like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, yeah. I think paganism or polytheism, same fucking thing. It probably integrates the left and the right brain more harmoniously, because you could you're intellectually placing different things of different archetypes ruled by different gods into kind of these intellectual boxes. So that's like your left brain, but because all the deities are spirits that have these different spiritual archetypal functions, then your right brain is also kind of being activated when you think about it as well. So
That's
it
why
probably,
pondering is where it's at.
yeah, I mean, paganism probably does provide a more balanced brain in a left-right hemisphere dichotomy. Do you see what I mean?
Because it explains it outright, you mean?
Well, I'm talking from like a kind of even more like,
Oh, the broader conceptual perspective.
well, conceptual, and I could argue like physiological as well. For example, it could have physiological ramifications that help you be more balanced and stable and grounded as a person.
Free Press says the word is the seed. I would agree with that because the seeds sown in our environment are exactly what grows to be reality. And another thing is we are the seeds that are planted on earth to see if we can bloom in the new light. And I think the new light is what we're all here to propagate and reproduce. That's what I think we're here for.
Well, yeah, that's the completion of the great work. Yeah, no, absolutely.
The
But
aha moment of the ages.
yeah, is it everyone's time?
Exactly what grows
Oh,
to be reality. And
sorry, I've put you there.
no, I'm still here. Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. We you want to do an hour then? You want to do a bit longer?
Sure,
I mean,
we can do another show soon, dude.
yeah, yeah. I need to
I think
go
it's
and
best if we keep it at an hour or under because people are hardly going to pay attention to it for that long.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I have an attention span of a freaking puppy, so I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, I think that's very common in today's society.
We don't have time to pay attention. Right.
That's why you got to, can read the
Well,
right
we build
books.
everybody's gaze here for 30 people for over an hour, so we're doing
Yeah.
something right, brother.
All right, man.
Thank all
All
those
right.
people that are still here. We're glad you joined us. And
Yeah.
I can't show you the truth, or I can show you the truth, but I can't live the truth. I can't make it convince you of the truth. You can only do that for yourself, and that's what I'm learning. And I think a lot of us are at that same juncture. And it's good to have an echo chamber, but it's good to have people that think outside the box, think differently than yourself. So everybody that's here, I appreciate you. Well, you got anything to say there, Jack?
Um. No, I mean, yeah, keep faith that everything is in divine order, however shitty it might seem at the moment. To be honest, I'm not working a job I didn't like anymore, so I'm
Right.
actually feeling much better about things. It's amazing how a job that you don't like can really just drag your soul down. Do you know what I mean?
Wow,
Like, it's not
everything
about that.
in life is designed to drag us down, brother. It's
Yeah,
there for that reason.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man.
And the only thing that can change that, drag down that perception of that is right here. And here,
Well,
right
here's
here, right
here's
here is
another
the biggest
point.
thing that can change it is your heart. You gotta live it, love it, be it.
Well, that's this is it, because like if you you know, a reason why a lot of people don't do what they really want to do in life is essentially just fear. Like they're afraid of, like, say, failure or what people think or what society thinks. There's a lot of social pressure on people not to do what they really, really want to do. And essentially, yeah, you just got to overcome fear and be like, okay, whatever, you know. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I found myself asking myself this today because I was scrolling through my news feed or my YouTube recommendations, and of course you got the every once in a while, especially if you watch something and you have your history turned on. See, I turn my history off on all my stuff, so I don't get suggestions and I don't get pigeonholed into certain information. Yet it seems that I get pigeonholed into certain information just because it's the only information I ever look up. But every occasionally you'll get the sensational video where, oh, the world's going to this and the world's going to that. Here's sunspot cycle this and it's going to happen. This is it. And there's a date or whatever. And there's something in you that's intrigued. It's like, I want to look at it,
Yeah.
And I think that for me, that's my biggest battle when I'm inundated with information, is getting into the want to be beguiled.
Well, I think that it'd be a shitty time. Like, no offense to anyone who's Gemini, but like, it's not a good time to be like, because Gemini is about taking in loads of information in a bigger picture sense. And there's just too much out there at the moment, and a lot of it is total useless, as we said earlier. As you know, the Bank of England said 100 years ago, whenever. So, there's just a lot of uselessness out there. And a lot of it is fear-based as well, particularly in the news.
I don't think it's on purpose, most of it, though. I think it's just human nature, man.
What the people
just love it. People love fear. That's why there's roller coasters. That's why there's amusement rides, man. That's why there's horror movies. That's why there's, we like to be scared.
Celebrating on Halloween. Yeah, but there's limits to that, isn't there? I don't know. Can't speak for other people.
Think about that, dude. I mean, it even spills over into our dreams.
Yeah.
You just mentioned a dream you had.
Yeah, that was a weird, spooky dream, man. I don't know if you can class it as a dream, because it was have you seen Constantine?
I think so.
When like Constantine goes to hell, when he's holding the cat with his feet in the water, to like, it's like that. It's like it was the same reality, but not the same reality at the same time. It was like an astral reflection of my bedroom. Yeah, man. And it's not like I haven't watched a horror movie in years, so it's not like I watched a scary movie. I don't know.
Right, and
maybe it was Kali Yug.
Right. As a good friend of mine used to say, be the frequency you'd like to receive. You can think of that as, plant the seeds that you want to see grown. I mean, it's that simple. And if we put out a rhetoric and discontent, that's what we're going to get back in our reality. So,
yeah, you got to like, still got to like, as 1% of that, you've got to like get out there and actually plant the seeds and get soil on your fucking hands and shit. There's still the active component of that.
Yes, because nothing's going to happen just because you want it to.
Yeah, there also always has to be some kind of action taken.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, right. We'll leave it there.
Yeah, good, man. We're going to do this regularly. We'll pick a date here, and we'll.
But now I'm unemployed officially. We can do it more regularly.
Well, send me a link for your new channel that you're starting.
Yeah. I was going to set up a new channel, like more dedicated to like magic and astrology rather than mysticism. I did like get really annoyed with YouTube, like censoring people, but like, yeah, we'll see. I don't think YouTube's going anywhere, but I doubt they'll start like censoring videos about the occult. I can't imagine why they do that.
You know, I went on and on about the ivermectin thing, and I just pushed and pushed and pushed, and all of a sudden, dude, I'm telling you, it's like the more people do things like that, even on the internet, I didn't know
Yeah.
it was possible. The actual government has changed its stance on it now,
Well,
where they were
see,
saying it was something bad, where now it's something that is one of the best things you could do.
well, yeah, I know, yeah, because I remember you sent me that video about that doctor giving the speech about it in the Senate and presenting his statistical findings.
100%
And
effective.
yeah, and but it's like that really didn't captivate my mind, that whole ivermectin thing in the way it did yours. It was the hidden demon which is in the economy behind all of this.
Right, and
That's the one. That's the one that got to me. You know
he
what
was
I mean?
addressing that too. Oh, you mean that video you sent me?
Oh, what Robert Breedlove
Yeah,
talking about
Is
how
that what you're talking about, or you're talking about from that guy, that Dr. Corey?
yeah, but it's all connected to the whole ivermectin thing, man. Because really,
Yeah,
once the economy's been crashed and that sovereign debt bubble's been wiped out, and a new system is presented, once that new system's up and running, you'll be amazed at how quickly COVID masks and social distancing disappear. You'll be
I
amazed.
don't know about that.
Once there's a new economic system in place, no, I swear it. Like,
My true feeling, heart to heart feeling on the whole CV thing is that it's all nature's way of pushing back to get us to straighten up and correct, or something like that, or it's manifested through our eternal damnation that we just continue to inflict on ourselves.
yeah, no, absolutely,
More of a spiritual thing, but yeah, I agree with you in a way.
yeah. No, I mean, like, yeah, it's like the bigger, really, what the big picture is, the like real big zeitgeist at the moment is the fact that it's a new astrological age. It's like a different epoch we've entered. So, like, those systems of the old are going to have to go. The Piscean systems will be replaced by Aquarian systems. But here's like, freedom corresponds to the sign of Aquarius, right? In the horoscope of America, the Sibley chart, the moon is in Aquarius, and the moon in a nation's horoscope is like the collective mind of the people. And that's why freedom's so important to Americans. I'm an Aquarius sun, so maybe that's why freedom's so important to me. But I don't see how, when I thought about this deeply, even though like collectives and corporations are kind of more Aquarius and social groups and stuff, because it's opposite Leo, the individual, I still think that like you won't be able to tyrannize a people in this age. It doesn't seem like it would work.
Well, you could in the Pisces,
It'd be,
because it was an age of faith and belief, and age of Aquarius is the age of knowing, right? Is that why?
yeah. So it's more scientific in that sense as well. I think it'll be interesting, but what I've learned as well, there's a recent, like, the central banks basically want to put the massive retail banks out of business, and because they don't need them anymore. So it looks like in all the banking families that are the shareholders at the Federal Reserve, they're actually fighting against they're now like fighting each other for who's going to have the power. So it's pretty dumb, really, the whole thing.
Good for them.
It's pretty fucking stupid and retarded, the whole fucking thing.
And what's the best thing? What's our best defense to that? Is just
Well, it's like I said, have faith and keep up daily spiritual work. That's the best immunization or vaccination to all the bullshit, Yeah.
You just had to say that word, didn't you?
Yeah. I couldn't resist getting it.
That's all
Yeah.
good. Just messing with you.
All right, dude.
All right,
Well,
brother. Take it easy, man. Much love.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who supported the chat and Steve's channel as well. Yeah, thanks.
And I'll make sure you send me that link, and I'll put it in the description so everybody can check out your channel, man.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah, definitely. All
Thanks,
right, man.
everybody.
I'll
Love
speak
peace
to you later.
later on.
Bye.